Real quick, man, I just want to address something that's been on my mind for a couple of days. And it seems like in our community, we have this weird, twisted, psychotic, moral street code of silence that when somebody dies through violent circumstances or suspicious circumstances or accidental circumstances, we feel that it is not morally right to tell on what happened, right? So if somebody gets shot in the streets, we always see Facebook posts saying rest in peace such and such, long live such and such. People make t-shirts, attend candlelight vigils and balloon releases, and then when it's time to find out what happened to the person, then everybody is hush mouth. Now, in a town of 50,000 people, and I'm talking about the city I live in, Goldsboro, North Carolina, but this goes on everywhere in the black community. In a town of 50,000 people, somebody knows when something goes down like that. Somebody knows what went on. Or in the case of a drug overdose, somebody dies over drug overdoses. There's been a few lately in this town, and everybody knows who that person was with, or everybody knows who that person normally get their drugs from, this, that, and the other. Then everybody gets on Facebook, oh, this is my dog, long live such and such, attend the balloon releases. But then when it's time to find out what happens to the person, everybody is hush mouth. And that is, kind of twisted, psychotic, self-deprecating. And by self-deprecating, I mean we undervalue our lives. We belittle our lives. And we tend to hold on to this outdated, mythological street code of, silence. Or, not snitching. And just let me sidetrack here. The not snitching rule was not made to be used how it is used today. First of all, it doesn't apply to civilians. And what I mean by civilian is if you are a person who is not involved in street life, or not involved in gangs, or not involved in, drug activity. If you see something go wrong, now I'm talking about, a violent crime or when somebody gets hurt, it is your moral obligation. It is your godly, it is your righteous obligation to tell what happened. Now, I'm not saying go out and start looking for people to tell on. Like if you see somebody selling or buying drugs, like no, don't leave that situation alone because nobody's getting hurt in that area. They choose to do that. The drug seller chooses to sell and the drug user chooses to use, unless the drugs are bad. But I'm talking about, when someone is riding around and shooting innocent kids and people are dying like that. If you see something, you have a moral obligation to tell what's going wrong. And the second thing, the no snitch rule is being used wrongly where, the no snitch rule applies to, like, say if me and you do a robbery and the police catch me, I don't suppose to say, hey, yeah, John was with me too. He's hiding out over there. Go get him. That's what it means by not snitching. Or if I get caught with a kilogram of cocaine and they catch me and then I go and I got 3 more people who I can get out and I can make buys from and you can get them instead of me. That's what it means by not snitching. And the sad thing is the same people who are telling people not to snitch are the same ones who, when they get in trouble, tell the police on everybody. But that's a whole nother different subject. But I know a lot of people out there know what I'm talking about. But my thing is this somehow this outdated mafia type code of omerta that we live by, and it's actually destroying our communities. And there's a quick example. Back in 2016, some schoolmates of mine, their daughter, Taya Maddox, I think everybody heard about this case. She was shot and killed under circumstances. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what really happened now, but that was in 2016. Now, I was living in Virginia, but within a week, I heard the story. I knew exactly what happened. I didn't know names, but I heard the scenario. I knew people that were in the car with her and things like that. But that case went on for about 4 years before that person who did it was brought to justice. Now, my understanding, if I knew in Virginia, within 2 or 3 days, everybody in this town knew who and what did it and what happened. So it was kind of hypocritical for me to see all of those posts about, justice for Taya and rest in peace Taya, when nobody really came forth with the information, not to my knowledge. It shouldn't have took 4 years if everybody in the town knew what happened. And so it's things like that that really lets me know that we don't value our lives. We value this sick, psychotic, twisted sense of this street code that doesn't love nobody. Like the streets don't love nobody. The streets and people may have the perception that, okay, well, these people are drug dealers, these people are murderers, these people are drug users, prostitutes. And when they get killed, people have that, oh, well, they had it coming to them attitude. But no, these people are also fathers, their mothers, their sisters, their brothers, their cousins, their aunties. They are people who hold value. Now, their lifestyle, the things that they were doing may not be healthy for themselves, but they also held value in the overall community. So when things like that happen to people, whether it's drug overdoses or violent deaths, then once again, we have a moral obligation as a community to bring the person responsible for those to justice. Like I think it was a few months back, it was 2 girls who were, once again, they were found in the car. I think one had already overdosed and died, and then one was in the hospital. She fought for a long time. It's my understanding that she did live. But once again, I saw a lot of Facebook posts, keep fighting, girl, and rest in peace to, the young lady who passed. And, that's once again commendable. But I know somebody know who they was with before, or who they called before they get those bad drugs that set them off. Who they normally hang around with. Where were they at? I know people know those things. So if you really care, if you really love that person, then you, once again, should have a heartfelt or moral responsibility to bring the perpetrator or the person responsible for their death to justice. And this is close to me because only 4 years ago, I was laying on the curb having a stroke and a seizure because somebody put fentanyl in my cocaine. Now, this was before everybody kind of knew what it was, but I was almost dead. But unfortunately, somebody came, called the ambulance, and I survived. But if I didn't survive, I would have loved for somebody to be fighting for my life. Fighting to see what happened to me. So those are the things that we have to come out of, this outdated mindset, this street code that they have given us to, neglect the life. And the last example I have to say, rest in peace to, I think the young man Tavarsha Kelly, 14-year-old who was killed when somebody came to shoot up his mother's house. Once again, if I'm not mistaken, that case has not yet been solved. But I know that somebody knows what happened. And so they have, once again, it's a 14-year-old boy lost, a brother, a son, no telling what he could have been. And that disturbs me that somebody knows what happened, but we have this, once again, this outdated mindset that we're not going to tell. We have some more obligation to the streets. Let me say, the streets don't love nobody. And it's sad to me that we once again base our culture on this street life. I had a coworker tell me the other day, she said, well, I know you don't watch P-Valley because I know you're not going to be into all of that stuff, but I got another show you can watch. Now this is something that's about our culture, right up our culture. I was like, okay, well, what's our culture? She was like, drugs, guns, money, girls, strip clubs. And I said, that's not our culture. Why do we have to identify with the lowest form of what's presented to us about us? We also have doctors, lawyers, engineers, professors, creators, musicians, everything that we can do as a people, farmers, scientists, chemists. All of those things are our culture too. So don't relegate me to this Western view of what a black man or a black woman is supposed to be. And we bought into that, and we bought into this street code movie. Things like Power, and what's the other shows? All those other shows that glorify this once again. And I get it. I get it. Like I've been shot before, and I didn't say that. There's a bullet wound right there. You see, I've been shot before, and I didn't say anything because I thought I was once again upholding some great standard of manhood. But that's not what manhood is about. Manhood is about protecting your community, protecting womanhood, protecting families. So this thing that we're doing out here when somebody dies and we're all hush mouth, man, we got to stop that, man. We got to stop that. There's a scripture said, be not conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We can't conform to this box that they put us in, that we are undervaluing our lives. Self-deprecating means, basically belittling yourself, undervaluing yourself. And that's what we have to stop, man. So I just want to come up here and just say that because it's been on my mind for a while, and I just continue to see it. I think I made a video like this 10 years ago, but it's still happening. So I hope this video encourages someone to even change their lifestyle, even get out of that lifestyle, because we all know, the streets are only a path to jail or destruction. So that's all I have to say on this subject, man. Y'all have a blessed day, man. Peace, love, all that good stuff, man. Y'all be safe.